All right, testing the mic. Test the mic. Mic check, mic check. Check. Testing.
Hang on, I'm trying to find it.
Testing, test. It's not showing up that the mic's even working. Holy jeez. What a joke.
Oh, it's on.
Oh, it's working. Thank you for checking that for me. This is round 2. And the mic just kicked on. We had no mic in round 1. And so I think we're set up. I need to share this with everybody because they need to find where we're at. Wow.
They have to go to your YouTube channel and click the live button because the link you gave was to previously.
Okay, so
I'm going
guys, we're sharing the live link out right now. Round 1 had no audio. So this is round 2 and the audio is working. Oh man, what a rough start. This is like when you leave port and your motor dies at the very beginning. You've done that before. All right, so we're back in. Welcome back, everybody.
Yes,
Oh man. Woo! I feel like we just left port and the motor died and we just had to keep going. So here we are again. I'm glad you can hear us now. Welcome, everyone. Hello, Melissa, Ted, Lynn, Greg. It's good to see everyone in the chat. I'm kind of looking at a distance to see the chat there.
I'm going to be looking down so I can
So Nancy's going to help moderate some of the comments as we go through. We have some really cool topics to talk about. We've received 7 or 8 questions about sailboat projects. So we're going to go over that. We have a few announcements about crewing opportunities this fall and early next winter. So let's just jump right into it. We've already burned 10 minutes of everyone's time. We just want to say thank you for joining us tonight. Let's get started. Let's jump right in. The first thing, let's talk about 2 quick announcements. We have our 5th Captain's Hour coming up at the beginning of October. So if you followed our blog on the website or on Patreon or even on Facebook, you'll get notifications on the dates for that. So we want to invite you to that. Also, there's a new playlist coming out for videos. So we're starting to kind of broaden the video content we produce. We're going to always do this weekly episode that we've been creating. But this Thursday, we're creating a new playlist for slow TV.
slow sailing.
And that's what it is. It's just going to be sailing footage. We have so much that we can't share that we want to share it with you in a different format. We're adding that to the weekly episodes and hope you enjoy it. So it's not for everybody, but if it's for you, we really hope you enjoy it. And one more announcement before we get to the Q&A. And that announcement is we have open berths in November, December, February, and March. So what that means is we're going to open our berths up. Our patrons get first call on the berths, and that is going to be a weekend experience in the islands. A 4-day, it's not a vacation, but it's not straight sailing lessons. It's going to be a full kind of a 4-day cruising experience where we do provisioning, we do sailing, we're going to do weather planning, routing, anchorage selection. We're going to anchor different spots. We're going to sail around. Who's going to cook?
I guess that'll be me.
No, we're going to all cook. We're going to learn how to use the galley. We're going to go over safety. It's going to be an awesome thing. We already have 2 couples who really going to jump in on it. But what it looks like is in the Bahamas, this November, December, we're going to have openings. And then in February and March, we're going to have openings in the Caribbean. So if that's something you're interested in, reach out to us. We'll be in touch with more details, and we don't want to burn too much time tonight talking about it. We just kind of want to put that out there and let you start thinking about it. All right. So how are the comments doing on the live chat?
We're doing good.
First of all, Mike says, "Where's the beard?" Didn't you get a comment? We got a comment on YouTube video.
So on on one of our episodes, Bill Nicholson says he publicly subscribed to us about a year ago. And he says, Matt, not too crazy about the beard. Bill, you were not the only one. I wasn't too crazy about it either. Neither was Olivia at first.
So anyway, we got back to, so real-time update. We're about 2 episodes away from finishing the Bahamas. So you're about 2 episodes away from our real-time location, which is Florida. We're in a hurricane hole in Florida doing sailboat projects. And I got there, it was way too hot. It was the first time all spring and summer I felt hot. It's like, I gotta shave the beard. This is not a Florida type of situation. So the boat's in Florida. We're currently live streaming from Colorado. We have a series of episodes coming out about mountain hiking and finding that balance between travel, and land time. So we're here with my parents, and we've been fortunate over the last 2 or 3 weeks to see friends and family and to get some serious land time before we head back out. So anyway, let's go into some Q&A. Are you ready?
I am.
She's going to continue to chat. So if she's looking down.
Yeah, I'm answering your questions in the chat.
So real quick, we do have a few questions in the chat. Lynn, when will we be back on Cadence? In about a week.
Sunday.
Looking at about a
We'll be
week,
there on
we're going to be
Sunday.
back on Cadence just in time for these hurricanes coming through. And and we'll let Olivia know you said hi, Emma. Thank you. And Greg, if you could send us maybe a private message, we'll give you an address. We do appreciate that. Q&A, we received 7 or 8 questions in our YouTube comments and emails, and we want to address those about sailboat projects. The first one comes from Douglas Lynn. Douglas Lynn asked the question, he's looking at going cruising on a Sunfast 3200. And here's what I'll just read it for you. I'm interested in longer battery life. Typically, though, people put in a hydro generator, which charges the batteries. But I'm wondering if you had put in more DC to DC chargers or a more powerful DC DC. So to answer that question, yes, we could have put in a little more DC to DC charger. And this essentially allows the engine, the diesel engine, through the alternator to charge the lithium batteries without doing any type of alternator changeover or new belts. Or we hear people all the time getting lithium and they have to do all these changes. And you don't have to with a DC to DC charger. But yes, we went with a lower amp DC charger, a 30 amp, so that it would be a minimal load on our alternator, less wear and tear. That's the reason we did it, knowing that we have solar already. And knowing that we have a generator, we have these other charge sources. So that's just the answer to your question there. Douglas, we love the DC to DC charger, and lithium was probably our best system upgrade we've done yet.
Yes, it allows us to go for days on anchor without ever having to think about charging or running the batteries down. So it's great.
So that brings us to our next question. I'm going to pose the question. I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to tend to some of the live chat and let Nancy answer the question. This question is from Return of Dwar. And the question says, have you ever thought about getting an electric motor for the dinghy?
Oh, yes, I have thought about it. And I begged for one. We were in Beaufort, North Carolina, about this time last year, maybe a little later. And Matt and Olivia had went to the land down to town, and I had to come back to the boat for something. And when I got back in the dinghy, I couldn't get it started. And this lady in this catamaran right next to us hops on her dinghy, pushes the button, and I'm rowing back to shore so I can get them. And she just zips right by like it was nothing, just pushing the button. So yes, we have considered it, but they're very, very costly, and just some different circumstances that we kind of outweighed the need for that. So we went with a new engine that will be coming up on the channel. So I don't know if he wants me to tell about that now or not.
No, that's fine. So yeah, we'd love to have an electric. If we got a secondary, that'd be good. You know, it all comes down to budget. They're quite pricey right now for the horsepower they put out. So I assume in 5 or 10 years, everyone's going to have electrics and it's going to be awesome. But, it's a new technology, and we'll let the people with deeper pockets go ahead and break in that technology and let it get worked out, all those kinks. So let's move on to the next question. So that was the second question. John Egerton. Thank you for submitting this comment, John. Let me just read it off the notes there. John says, paying a premium price up front is the only way to go. He says, the one big thing I learned during my sailboat days was it's pay now or pay later. And yeah, we agree with you, John. You're always going to pay. You're going to buy, everyone's going to buy, let's say the number is $100,000, whether it's a $20,000 boat and you put 80K in, or it's a $70,000 boat and you put 30K in, or it's a $130,000 boat and you take depreciation. It's always a $100,000 boat. And we've learned only really just recently that you either buy a boat ready to cruise or you buy a project boat. It's hard to really get, they're totally different things. And we've learned that the traveling is really what excites us. The projects are more of the chores. So we couldn't agree with you more, John, on that comment.
That was a big debate we had when we were looking at boats. Matt said he wanted a project boat. I didn't want a project boat because I didn't know anything about boats. And he's finally, jumped on my train. So
definitely. And, we bought project houses. Maybe that was it. We always bought project houses and we're able to upgrade them that way by working on them. And so if you're into that for boats, that's cool too, right?
And Cadence is by no means a new boat. She was an older boat, but she'd been taken really good care of. So we got lucky.
So before we move to the next questions, I see some really good questions coming in on the live chat. And let me just say in real time, so we put the boat on the hard. We did some major projects. We repaired that shaft. The fiberglass damages that we underwatered epoxied in the Bahamas, we finally repaired those properly on the hard. So I think every boat's a project boat.
Yes.
So you're always going to be putting, it's just like a house. You're going to have maintenance. You're going to have new air conditioner, new roof to put on it.
I agree.
Oh, I thought you had a
No,
comment.
I'm just ready to answer the comment.
Yeah, go for it. What do you have on
So
it?
there's a question by Mike. He says, how easy is it to find a laundromat in the Bahamas? When we were in the Bahamas, going to a settlement that is well inhabited, there's always going to be a laundry facility there. We didn't have any problems when we went to one of the settlements. If you're at a secluded island, it's that hand washing, and I didn't like that so much, but we did that too. So yes, if you go to one of the the islands where there's a settlement, then you could definitely find one. It's not hard. You might have to pack it on your back a little while to get there, but you can get to one.
So that kind of ties into something I was thinking about sailboat projects. A good energy source, a good battery bank is a necessity. And I think it's a necessity in today's age.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, probably not, but it's definitely a luxury that you need. So, but I think the second best item is a water maker, because cruise, it's not a need. You can certainly cruise without it, but it's a game changer because now you're no longer looking for water sources. But I think if there was a third upgrade for sailboat projects, it'd probably be the washer and dryer.
Oh yes, I could get rid of his closet and put my washer and dryer in there. I'd totally do that.
Doesn't make sense, does it? But because the washer and dryer now, you're no longer looking for laundromats.
Yeah.
So I think that level of independence would be so good. Of course, you got to have a boat for that.
Yes.
Let's talk internet. I got a question here from Jim Collins. Thank you, Jim, for submitting this question. And I'll just read it to you. My wife and I are going to the Exumas this fall, and I was wondering, how do you upload your videos from where you're at in the Exumas? The quick answer is we used, I bought a Google Pixel, the Pixel Fi service, because it's supposed to be international, and it is, but there's no service. So we had to cancel that, and we used the Bahamas internet. There's two services, the BTC and the Alive. And I think it was the Alive. We had the Alive hotspot. It worked the best. We pretty much had it everywhere, even when we were in the land and sea park where there were no towers nearby. We just put it in a waterproof bag, attach it to a halyard, and hoisted up the mast. It gets great reception. And for uploading big content like videos, we just learned to hoist the hotspot on the mast and then upload overnight when there's less users on the internet. And it worked pretty good. It was actually more reliable than when we got back to Florida to our hurricane hole. It was way more, the Bahamas internet was way more reliable.
More reliable.
So, but that leads us to the next question. We'll go ahead and share it with you if you haven't seen already. Today, our internet Starlink satellite shipped, and it should be here within the next week or two. And so we're going to have Starlink this next cruising season, and that's going to be a game changer. We can work more, faster, and upload videos. It's going to be so much better.
That's our hope. We'll keep you posted.
We're going to definitely keep you posted. Fingers crossed, and we're going to keep you posted on that. Got a lot of questions here on the live chat. Emma says, what has been the most scary experience since living on the sailboat? And Emma, that's a good question. We'll kind of pause from our sailboat projects and talk about that, because when we were thinking about this live feed, we were thinking about there's one emotion that holds us back, and that's fear. It keeps us from leaving the dock when we feel like we have to have everything perfect, every project, everything we ever wanted to do, and so we never leave the dock. And that's one thing it holds us back on.
I had big fears with leaving the U.S. for the first time. Like, what is the requirements? What's the paperwork? Are they going to board my boat? What do they want to see? What do they not want to see? How do we get in? Like, all of those fears of just the process was really intimidating for me. And then I think the one that we talked about the most was our first anchorage that we went to was Powell Key in the Bahamas. And we anchored, and it was pitch black that night. We stepped out, and it was like we were the only boat out there. It was very dark. It's like, are we going to drag? Like, there was a storm coming through, 20-something knot wind. So it was just all very, like, it felt very tense and fearful in that moment. But as we kept going, I think those fears kind of subsided, and it became more fun, and we became more confident in our anchoring skills. And
that might have been one of our scariest moments. I mean, not going the dock and cut experience where our prop fouled up and all that was way less scary than anchoring in isolation in this uninhabited island. And it only had to do probably because of experience.
Yes.
And it was just a mental thing, really. It really was. The live chat is kicking some pretty awesome questions.
Let's go with that.
Michael Berger asked, hey guys, my wife and I wanted to know how you handle respecting or finding personal space. This was a big lesson. I remember the first month we bought the boat. This is 2020, COVID. We can't leave the boat because it's COVID. Everybody's in lockdown. You know, we were all afraid of our lives. And I remember being so frustrated because we're always bumping elbows, the three of us, and stepping on Mocha.
Yes, we stepped on Mocha all the time. But it was like you'd be standing there and you're just trying to just go into the salon to sit down, and you have to wait for someone to move so you can go by. And it's like, it was very frustrating at first. But after you get used to it, you just learn that, okay, you're going to have to be a little patient. Things slow down on a boat so you can enjoy it more.
Yeah, that was the same thing for me. Just had to learn to slow down and give each other space. And so actually, it taught us to be more mindful of each other and of our daughter and of the dog and of our space, to where we got to a point, and we're at a point now where we intentionally get away from each other. That sounds bad. But we intentionally say, all right, I'm taking Olivia out. We're going to go out and have dinner. You can have the night alone, totally alone. And vice versa. We do that all different ways so that we can have that personal space. That's just one way that we've done it. Thanks for the question, Michael. That's a good one. I'm looking at these questions right now. Hi from New Brunswick. I'll let you keep reading so I'm not distracted. I'm going to go back to the pre-submitted questions. I'm getting distracted on that live chat. Matthew LK, thank you for subscribing. Longtime subscriber, 2 years now. Thank you, Matthew. He asked us about the shaft. Should we align it and check the motor mounts after we, after we left the Abacos? We started having water flooding to the boat. And that was one of our episodes when we were leaving Hopetown, coming down to Eleuthera. Yes, the shaft is okay. It was wobbling in the video, and it is wobbling, but it's not misaligned. The feeler gauges and everything shows that it's well mated to the engine and it's aligned well. But the motor mounts, they're old. They're over 20. They're almost 20 years old. It's time to replace the motor mounts. And so we have gotten in touch with Ella Bogan, and we got a whole new set of motor mounts. We're going to work on a video with Ella Bogan going through how to replace motor mounts, and we're going to do that. And we're looking forward to it.
Yes.
That's one of the projects left to do this summer. And I'm anticipating an increase in horsepower.
I'm hoping so.
I'm anticipating it because all that vibration, I believe it's lost energy between engine to prop. And so we're going to settle that down and get that properly transmitting that energy. So thanks for the question, Matthew. One last Sailboat project question, then we're going to really dig into the live chat questions and we'll wrap it up here. We're about 25 minutes in. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. Here's the last Sailboat question that was pre-submitted, at least that we saw. If we missed yours, we're sorry. Drop it there in the live chat. This is from Mad Marv. Mad Marv says, I'm curious how the semi-flexible solar panels are holding up after a season. If you had to do it again, would you still do it the same? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
We installed the solar panels right before we left Texas. So they've been with us through last summer, up the East Coast, through ice, and then through the Bahamas. We love the flexible SunPower solar panels. They are high efficiency. You want to talk about how you mounted them? That's one of the things we like about them is the ease of mounting.
Yeah, so we had an episode where I sewed what we called these little raviolis. They look like little pouches that have some clips in them, and we clipped them onto the bimini that is already there, and they held up great. We've been through a couple of big major storms. If you've been following our channel, you know that they held on great through all of that. I actually had a question today asking how would I do that again, and yes, I would. So they're holding up great. We don't ever think about them flying off or anything like that. So it was a great way to mount them on.
One question here. Let me add about that. So yeah, ease of mounting made them good. I like the semi-flexible panels because of weight. They're like 10% of the weight. They're only like 3 pounds each versus 20. And when you're putting that weight that high up, I just don't like what it does to the boat. We already have the dinghy up high. But that said, the other half of our solar system is a fixed panel because we know fixed panels, or at least we hear, they're better longevity. So we have a blend of both and we like it.
Yes.
That's good. How are we doing the live chat? We got a few comments about the Starlink, about that's going to be this whole learning process. We've heard if you disable the auto tracking feature of the Starlink and just let it be stationary, it works better on the boat. So we're going to experiment with that. We're going to experiment with our new stern anchor to stabilize the boat. And, worst case, we'll get one of those portable battery generators and work from the beach.
That doesn't sound like a bad idea at all.
We do know that the Starlink has live service right now in in Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, and St. Martin, the northern side of the Caribbean, and it's supposed to come to the Bahamas in the next few months. So that's good news. That kind of brings us to where we're heading next. Let's finish up with where we're heading next.
Let's do it. So as soon as hurricane season is over and we finish up our projects, we're hoping to head back to the Bahamas and explore some of the islands that we didn't get to see on our way down to the Caribbean. So I'm going to expand on that.
Yeah, I like that idea. We're going to kind of just pick right up where we left off. We're going to have a good offshore sail and then do a few of the out islands. And then we're going to head, the plan at least, is early winter, head to Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, St. Martin. We got to brush up on our French. That'll be fun. We're just going to have a good time exploring the Caribbean. And after that, after spring, we don't know where hurricane season is going to be. We don't know if it's Grenada, Maine, Europe. We don't know. We just know by spring, we're going to be in the Northern Caribbean. And that's where that crew call comes in. We're going to have some guests on board. And hopefully that'll be some of you. So anyway, let's skim these live chat one last time before we wrap up. I don't see any other questions. I see a lot of good comments. We're going to go through it and respond to those in the chat. How is the new engine running? Thanks for the question, Corey. We don't know yet. So we bought a new outboard engine, the 9.9. We had all those struggles with. We're done with it. Let's get an engine. And we also figured, you know what? Olivia's young. She loves water. We're going to start doing some water sports on the dinghy, the tiller. So we went ahead and got a 15 horsepower Suzuki, and we have not run it a single time. So we didn't want to run it and then come up here and visit family, and have problems. So we'll find out next week how the engine runs. So anyway, I think that's just about it. Let me look at the notes and make sure we covered everything.
Team Haas, are you planning to go to Turks and Caicos on the way to Puerto Rico?
One of the biggest issues we're dealing with right now is this cute little dog.
Oh, she's so cute.
So traveling to all the different countries, the Bahamas was nice because it was one big country, but jumping from these other countries, and we've heard Turks and Caicos, St. Lucia, there's a few of these islands where pets are a little more challenging to get in and out, paperwork and even fees. So we don't know if we'll head through Turks and Caicos. We're kind of planning a multi-day offshore sail just to bypass all that. But if the weather turns bad, we're going to take cover. We might just be in Turks. That wouldn't be a bad thing. So anyway, yeah, that's about it. I think we covered where we're heading. I just want to say thank you for joining us on the live chat. It was a rough start.
Alan says they eat pets for lunch in Turks. Oh no, we're not going. We're not going there.
Look at her. She doesn't have a clue what's happening over
She's
here.
gonna be a little hot dog.
We just want to say thank you.
Yes.
It's not a captain's hour. This is not a captain's hour. It's a one-way thing. We have the live chat going. We hope that each of you can make it to our next captain's hour because it's a Zoom meeting. And it's two-way conversation. We try to tell some jokes. You do the jokes, right?
No, Matt does the corny jokes. Not
We
me.
have conversation. It's a dialogue. It's a lot more interactive than this. But this is a lot of fun, too. And we're just so thankful. I just feel like I'm talking the whole time.
I know. Thank you so much for joining tonight. It's so fun to have you all here.
Thanks a lot. We're going to go back through all the chat and make sure we respond to everybody that we've missed so far. But we appreciate it. Oh, you're supposed to say, give us a thumbs up. Isn't that what you say at the end of a video?
Thumbs up and subscribe.
This kind of reminds me back when we started making videos and didn't know how to end them.
It was really awkward.
Hey, so I'm going to tell you
tell
one
about
more
the vote.
thing. My parents are getting excited over there. We've been nominated as an emerging YouTube channel, one of 24 channels for top emerging YouTuber. And so let me put a link, if I can find it, and we'll put it in the live chat. And if you could vote for us, we would deeply appreciate it. Let me see. It's there's like 15 days left in the contest. It's put on by the International Cruisers Association. And Elena from La Vagabond will be announcing the winners at the Annapolis Boat Show. And that would be totally cool if we maybe even just made the top 3 of the emerging top YouTube channels. That'd be really
That
cool.
would be cool.
So I think I just put the link there. Let me double check.
Yes.
Yeah, here's a link here. We've had a lot of votes so far, and we're so thankful for that. But we have a long way to catch up to number 1, Sailing La Gypsy, I think it is. So we're going to knock them out with your help. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yes.
We appreciate it. And we'll see you in the comments. Look forward to seeing you in
The episodes and at Captain's Hour, if you can come.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye.